Former President Donald Trump has never been one to shy away from bold pronouncements. His recent assertion that he could end the ongoing war in Ukraine within 24 hours if re-elected is a case in point. Speaking at a campaign-style rally, Trump slammed the Biden administration's handling of the conflict, suggesting it had led to unnecessary escalation. He went on to claim that were he back in the Oval Office, he could broker a peace deal in a single day. This claim, while characteristically audacious, has been met with skepticism from foreign policy experts and dismissed as bluster by his political opponents. Trump's critics point to his past record on the world stage, which they argue is characterized by unpredictability and a disregard for diplomatic norms. They question his ability to negotiate with a figure like Vladimir Putin, whom he has praised in the past. Furthermore, the complexities of the conflict, with its roots in long-standing historical grievances and geopolitical maneuvering, suggest that a quick fix is highly improbable. Another key element of Trump's recent pronouncements on the Ukraine war has been his criticism of the substantial financial aid provided by the US to Ukraine. He has repeatedly questioned the wisdom of sending billions of dollars overseas, while Americans face economic challenges at home. This line of argument taps into a vein of isolationist sentiment that has long existed within segments of the American public. Trump's supporters argue that he is simply reflecting the concerns of ordinary Americans who are struggling to make ends meet. They contend that the Biden administration has been too focused on foreign entanglements at the expense of domestic priorities. Critics, however, counter that Trump's stance is short-sighted and undermines America's credibility as a global leader. They argue that supporting Ukraine is crucial to containing Russian aggression and upholding the international rules-based order. Perhaps the most controversial aspect of Trump's recent pronouncements has been his positive remarks about Vladimir Putin. Despite the ongoing war in Ukraine, Trump has refrained from directly condemning the Russian leader. Instead, he has spoken of his past relationship with Putin in a favorable light, suggesting that he was able to deal with him more effectively than the current administration. This approach has puzzled many observers who see Putin as a ruthless dictator responsible for numerous human rights abuses. Trump's defenders argue that his approach is rooted in pragmatism. They contend that it is more effective to engage with adversaries than to isolate them. They point to Trump's efforts to open a dialogue with North Korea as evidence of his willingness to think outside the box in foreign policy. Critics, however, see Trump's stance as naive and dangerous. They argue that it emboldens autocrats like Putin and undermines efforts to hold them accountable for their actions. It is important to consider the context in which Trump is making these statements. With the 2026 presidential election looming, Trump is clearly seeking to position himself as a strong and decisive leader. His pronouncements on the Ukraine war, while controversial, are likely calculated to appeal to his base of supporters who tend to be skeptical of foreign interventionism and receptive to his brand of populist nationalism. Trump's rhetoric, while tailored for a domestic audience, has significant implications for America's standing in the world. His praise for Putin and his questioning of US support for Ukraine risk alienating allies and emboldening adversaries. As the 2026 election draws closer, it remains to be seen whether Trump's pronouncements on the world stage will resonate with voters or further divide an already polarized nation.